ALCS Game 1, Yankees hosting the Guardians. Bottom 7, bases empty, and it's Giancarlo Stanton with an absolute moonshot 439 feet into the Cleveland bullpen. That made it 5-1. Yankees, they go on to win 5-2 and lead this best-of-7 series 1-0. This ALCS Game 1 recap is presented by Old El Paso. Start somewhere fresh, and for more, we welcome in CBS Sports MLB analyst and former longtime Mets manager, Bobby Valentine. And Bobby, Yankees start the ALCS with a win over the Guardians, and it was Carlos Rodon who set the tone with 6 innings of 1 run, struck out 9. There were some uncertainty coming into who Aaron Boone would go for in Game 1, but Rodon answered the call. What impressed you in his outing? Yeah, well, Carlos had to control his emotions and command his pitches. And he did both of them. He had a slider going down and in, a really good fastball, up to 98 miles an hour at one time, and was in control of the game the entire time. When he handed that ball off to the bullpen, they were in really good stead because Soto and Stanton went deep, and that's the signature of the Yankees. Hey, let's talk about them, because on the offensive side, Juan Soto, Giancarlo Stanton both going yard. Aaron Judge had a sac fly, but nothing else to show for it. But what was your impression of the Yankees offense on Monday? Well, they were patient, and they watched a few wild pitches go by, and that was very good on their offense, and they hit a couple of home runs. But this offense will not survive without Judge being Judge. Yeah. He got a sac fly, and he actually centered one tonight that was pretty good, and he got a base on balls, but he's got to hit. He's got to be a force in that lineup for them to do what they want to do the rest of the season, and right now he's just not showing it. Yeah, well, as for Cleveland, they immediately fall behind after losing Game 1, but what is the message if you're in the dugout and you're the Guardians? Well, they got the tying run to the plate, and the tying run happened to be Ramirez. Play that game with them for 4 or 5 times. Ramirez will come in 3 of the 5 times, and you'll be in trouble. So you got to play a tighter game with the Yankees and just have a little better timely hitting if you're the Guardians. Okay, well, looking ahead to Tuesday, it's going to be Garrett Cole against Tanner Bybee. That feels like this is advantage Yankees in this one, but what are your thoughts on pitching in this matchup? Well, without a doubt. I mean, Cole's the ace now. They have him for Game 2 with a 1-game lead. That's an interesting selection, but the Guardians do attack the plate from the left side better than they do from the right side, and they'll have their left-handed hitters swinging and swinging as hard as they can. You know, Cole is an ace. He's pitched well in the playoffs, but now is the time of the year he has to continue to pitch well for him to keep the crown as the ace. What do you expect to maybe see from Tanner Bybee going into Game 2? Well, you know, he's a kid who wants to prove to himself, prove to the world he believes in himself, that he's as good as there is out there. He has very good stuff. He's very competitive. And this is a stage that you kind of get the notches, the stripes on your sleeves, and he's looking to get some stripes. Absolutely. Okay, well, I know it's early, but I feel like in the postseason, every single game might come off as a must-win, but do you view Game 2 as a must-win for Cleveland? Do you think they can go back home and maybe still put up a serious fight if they're down 0-2? If they split, they're going to put up a serious fight. Okay. If they're down 0-2, I think they'll be backpedaling, but they're a pretty good team. They're young, they're aggressive, they fear nothing, and they don't have the talent of the Yankees, but they have a team atmosphere that could come through in this situation, and we'll have to see if they can keep the ball in the park tomorrow. Well, fresh off the Yankees' victory over the Guardians, here's Aaron Boone at the podium.
Aaron, what made Rodon so dominant this evening?
Oh, man. Gosh, he was good. Just felt like he was in, we talked about how would he take the experience of the first time out. And I thought I felt like he totally applied all that. I thought he was just in complete command of himself and of his emotions. Stuff was excellent. Had swing and miss. Featured. The fastball was really good. But I thought mixed in some good change-ups too, and even threw a couple cutters in there tonight, which we haven't seen a lot of. But just started with the fastball and the command of it, and generally speaking, getting ahead and really having some swing and miss, so he's able to put guys away over and over while also being real pitch efficient. Quan puts a 9, 10, whatever pitch at bat on him right out of the chute, and retires him and just kind of was pretty dominant from there.
You mentioned he really stayed within himself, controlled his emotions. At what point in time did you realize he was kind of a different version than you saw in the first start?
I don't want to lose sight of that first start, how good I thought he was early. He was just definitely amped up. And I think that potentially, led to some fatigue or whatever, missing some spots there in that last inning. But, man, I thought he held his stuff really well. You just watched him out there with intensity, but a lot of poise. And that's what stood out.
Other questions for Aaron? We'll go to Brendan standing out your right.
Just how key was it for you guys to get on them early and not have to deal with the elite back end arms?
Yeah, I thought, we had really good at-bats. We pressured them early and didn't score those first 2 innings where we had, 4 base runners, 5 base runners. So we were able to pressure Cobb a lot. He did a good job of holding us down. Finally, Juan breaks through, and then we kept the pressure on where, I thought we took a lot of good at-bats. Didn't necessarily have that big hit again to make it a huge offensive night for us, but I thought a lot of heavy at-bats again that kind of set us up and put Carlos in a good position.
And how's Rizzo?
Rizzo's good. Nice. Yeah, hand was good. I just felt like, man, I thought he was sharp, which was really good to see. Hand good, more just, but he was just kind of physically and emotionally spent there late in the game, and I kind of felt like. Just felt like I needed to get him out of there and want to make sure I'm managing this properly with him as we go through this, because he really hasn't been on the field in over 2 weeks, and but came through good with the hand. Expect him in there tomorrow, and thought he had some really good at bats.
Other questions for Aaron? We'll go to Ron up front, first row here on the right.
The patience in the at-bats all through the postseason and really through the season, how much did the players start with that, and how much was preached by the coaches?
I mean, I think a lot of them, that's who they are. That's what they're capable of. That's in their DNA. I mean, but, we beat that over. We hammer it, right? And they do, too. We talk about that all the time. Like, just, hey, keep having good at-bats, keep having tough at-bats, no matter what's going on. Because you're going to have games where it doesn't go well, or, you don't score, you go through stretches. But it's like, man, let's just keep, you hear pass the baton a lot or things like that. But it's more just, I want to take a heavy, tough, hard at-bat, regardless of what the result is. And I feel like, by and large, through these first now 5 playoff games, we've done that. Again, we haven't totally broken through offensively, but I feel like the at-bats are where they need to be.
Is that more significant in the postseason, where the big hits are harder to come by given the pitching?
I mean, yeah, but, it can come in a lot of different ways. There's teams out, putting the ball in play helps you, obviously putting the ball in the seats, especially when you get a couple guys out in a big spot, that can be big. But I think, by and large, our strength of our group is, making you have to work to go through us.
We'll go right behind Ron to Peter.
With Soto's home run, I mean, as soon as he hit it, I guess Cobb started walking guys after that. The crowd was very loud. Just how did that sort of set the tone for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it got us on the board because to that point, so he's the 11th batter there or so at that point. Again, I thought we had a lot of good at-bats. We had traffic. We probably had, to that point, 6 base runners, but had nothing to show for it. So for him to break through and get us on the board, and then I thought we continued to have good at-bats from there.
Go to Susan in the first row.
When you look at Giancarlo right now, what do you see?
Just some kind of presence in the middle of our lineup. Locked in, focused, and that's, of course, what he's capable of. I mean, that ball is absolutely nailed on a cold night, hitting it off the back of the bullpen out there. I thought he, just missed one his first AB. When we had two guys out there, hit that ball to left. I thought he got a good swing off on what I thought was a pretty good sinker from Cobb. Just missed one to right as well. Had the walk and then the homer. So just stacking quality at ABs. And when he does that, he's capable of obviously hitting one like he did tonight.
Two last ones for Aaron. Chris, on your left.
Carlos's tenure has been up and down so far. When you guys signed him 2 off seasons ago, did you kind of envision these kinds of outings at the time?
Well, when you put it like that, yes. I mean, that was a dominant performance in Game 1 of the championship series. So that was really good to see. But again, just how in command he was. Because he is intense, he is emotional at times, and I thought he commanded all that so well, and that's what he's capable of when he's dialed in like that.
And first row on your right.
That's a strong bounce-back outing for Carlos Rodon after his ALDS outing, tossing 6th inning of 1-run ball and 9 Ks. That marks the most strikeouts in a game with 1 run allowed or less and no walks in Yankees postseason history. Rodon getting the Yanks' quest to the pennant off to a strong start.